You need to prepare right now for what is possibly coming in the stock market. Because if you do, and you play your cards just right, like the little minority of people that actually understand what I'm going to talk about in this video right here, you could truly make generational wealth. I am not clickbaiting you. I know that every other person on YouTube makes intros like that to their videos. But what I'm going to show you here is truly going to blow your mind and change how you see the stock market going forward. Because if we look at this chart right here, this is a 3-month chart of the NASDAQ. We all know that from bottom to where we are at right now was a face ripper rally, 21% in just a few weeks. I capitalized. I made a lot of money on that rebound right there. My Schwab account's now over $1.4 million. But what we got to talk about and what is likely to come is going to make this little rally right here look like peanuts. So we have to go through the fear greed index first so that you understand where the market's actually at, where the sentiment is at, and this is going to help us gauge where the market is likely to go in the short term. So when we look at this and we say that, hey, the greed category is where we're at right now at a level of 67 out of 100, Brandon, it's not a bullish time to buy stocks. It's not a bullish time to sell puts and buy call options right now. You're talking about this massive setup that's formulating right now, but it's not the right time to do it. And while you are correct on the next 1 or 2 month basis, the market is likely to be very, very bumpy. If you could give it just a few more months beyond that, the tidal wave and the tsunami that is coming could truly change your life. So don't get too caught up on this chart right here. If you're a 1 month investor or a 2 month investor, yes, you might not want to allocate right now. But if you have a slightly longer time horizon and you understand the data that just came out about how the companies within the S&P 500 reported earnings, it's really going to blow your mind. It's blowing my mind right now. I can't really believe the numbers that I'm reading right now, but they are true. So this report is as of May 1st of 2026. Take a look at this. For Q1 of 2026, there's 63% of the companies within the S&P 500 that already reported earnings. So more than half of the 500 companies already reported their profits. Of those companies that reported their profits, 84% have smoked the earnings per share profit estimates out of the water, and 81% have smoked the revenue estimations out of the water right now. Think about that. Everybody was talking about Iran and inflation and interest rates and the global economy taking a collapse. Yet somehow, the profits of the companies continues to go up. And you guys know by following me on this channel, the number one thing with basically 100% perfect correlation in the long term of where the stock prices are likely to go is going to be where the earnings per share goes. So when we see really good profit growth, the stocks are likely to continue to go higher in a very volatile way. Now, the critical thing you have to understand beyond that is that the earnings per share growth rate for Q1 of 2026 is 27%. Now, I know we just talked about a lot of numbers right there, but really understand this. The typical growth rate of the S&P 500 profits is around 10%. Right now we are seeing 27%. Right now we are seeing an explosive move happening in the stock market. And while everybody is saying, oh my God, I need to trim, I need to take profits, I need to pull off the table, I think that they're making a really big mistake because in the long term, like I said, the profits are going to dictate where the market's going to go. The lighter line right here, the bumpy one, is the S&P 500 going back 10 years. The darker line is the actual profit growth, the earnings per share growth. You are seeing a very sharp acceleration right now of profit growth. And in the long term, the stock market is going to follow that in a bumpy way. Sometimes the market goes a little bit below it. Sometimes the market goes a little bit above it. But in the long term, the market is going to follow that. So when we're seeing the companies reporting major efficiencies because of AI and just overall efficiency booms happening across the economy, the stock market is likely to continue higher. That doesn't mean there's not going to be bumps along the way. That doesn't mean there's not going to be volatility. There is going to be volatility. But if you could just close your eyes and capitalize, how I'm going to talk about in this video, to great companies at good prices and use options in a responsible way, you could capitalize on this move right here of profits going up and to the right. And like I said, the lighter line, the S&P, is going to bounce above and below that profit line, but it is going to follow that in the long term. So right now, the profit growth is astronomical. So of those 500 companies, which ones are likely to be the cream of the crop? Which ones are likely to go up the most? Which ones are growing their profits the most? Which ones are trading at a fair valuation level, not anywhere near the B word, the big bad bubble word? We're going to go into that. But before we go into that, what if we just want to go buy the index itself? What if we want to go buy the S&P 500? Or what if we just want to go buy the NASDAQ 100, which is basically a tech focus of the S&P 500? It's just taking the 100 tech focused companies out of the S&P, and you can invest in that directly. That's what this chart is right here. So what I want to show you is my price predictions for where I think that the NASDAQ is going to go in the next couple years, and how you can make an explosive return simply by buying a brainless thing like the NASDAQ and forgetting about it. And please don't forget, this rally where my account went from $1.1 million to now $1.4 million in just the last few weeks, where I see the NASDAQ going forward from here is likely to make this look like peanuts. It's likely to make this look like, what the heck was that? That wasn't a big ROI. Let's dive into it. So we said before, remember, the earnings per share growth rate for the S&P is 27%. The NASDAQ is higher because it's focusing on the tech companies that are growing even more. But I want to be a little bit more conservative here. So what I am going to assume on this chart is 15% growth each year. And it's going to shock you where this index is likely to be at, which is the NASDAQ. So looking across the bottom right here, you could see that this is going to be 2030 somewhere around right here. So this is where we're at right now. And we're going to go up earnings per share growth of 15% until the end of the year. You could see that the triple Q index could be somewhere around $776 per share end of this year. That's this year. Let's go one more year out from there. We're going to go another 15% growth from that. You can see that we're now almost at $900 per share, $895 on the top right. Let's go up one more year from that, another 15%. You can see that we're now over $1,000 per share. Let's go up one more time, and I have to adjust the chart because we are going off the charts with how strong this earnings per share growth is right now, and honestly, it's likely to continue and potentially accelerate beyond 15% because the AI efficiencies that are coming are likely to be a very strong boom for these companies and the economy going forward. So let's do another 15%. You can see that the NASDAQ Triple Q index is now at almost $1,200 per share. And we'll go one more time to run it until the end of 2030. We're going to go from here up 15%. We're now at $1,300 per share. I know this might seem crazy to you. I know this might seem out of control, how much of a ROI that we could have going forward. But guys, where the profits go dictates where the index is likely to go. So when you go look at this fear greed index right here, like most people are doing, and they're saying, oh my God, it's greed, I need to sell out. Look at what you are selling out of. You are selling after this little bump of appreciation right here. But look at what is likely to come. And I'm not saying that the market's going to go like this. It's not going to go just like this up and to the right. The market's going to go above the line, below the line, above the line, below the line. And when the market does go below the line, this is when you want to buy more shares. This is when you want to go sell more portfolio secured puts. And this is when you want to go buy some call options. Because when it goes below the line, it's going to snap back to the line eventually. And your returns going forward from an undervalued level down here is likely to be very, very strong. So don't sell too prematurely. Don't get too antsy. Don't have to take your profits the second you see, oh my God, I made 20%. Because look at what is likely to come. From where we're at right now to the end, look at this. Potential another double coming in the next 4 years. That's a lot of money to be made, guys. Think about what that could do for your portfolio. Think about what my Charles Schwab account is going to look like at the end of 2030. This is going to be well over $3 million, very, very likely. Of course, there's going to be bumps and crashes along the way. I get that, guys. But this thesis is likely to play out as long as the earnings per share growth continues. And my assumption of 15% growth annually, I do feel like that is relatively conservative for the NASDAQ because of how strong the growth is right now and where these companies are guiding going forward for where they see the profits likely to go. That does not mean we're not going to see short-term volatility. That does not mean we're going to see a trade war 3.0 or another Iran thing or an oil thing or something else we're not even thinking about. There's always going to be bumps along the way. But where the profits go dictates where the market's going to go in the long term. Okay, so of those 500 companies, which ones are the cream of the crop? Which ones are the best ones to potentially buy right now and allocate with options to magnify, generate cash flow, make a bunch of money? Let's set up a screener and we'll figure this out together. I'm going to do 3 very simple categories here to start, and then we'll work through it from there. Market capitalization is going to be the first thing that we want to set up. Mid cap and large cap stocks. We're not going to do micro cap stocks or small caps. They're more speculative. They're more just risky. They're less established. We don't have to deal with that stuff. Let's go with easier plays to make money on. More consistent stuff here. Price earnings ratio level. We're going to pick all the PE ratio levels so that we could just look at all the companies to start, and then we're going to pick the cream of the crop from that. But the most important part is going to be the earnings per share growth. I'm basically picking 15% or better for earnings per share growth in the last 3 years. So when I sort this, there's going to be 305 stocks that pop up. We're going to go like this, and you're not really going to recognize these companies here until I sort it by the market cap. And you can see now that the cream of the crop is now closer towards the top. You see NVIDIA, Google, TSM, Broadcom, Meta, Walmart, Eli Lilly, Chase Bank, AMD, ASML. There's a ton of super high profile quality companies right here that are growing so fast right now. And if we allocate to the best of the best, we could likely make a lot of money. Okay, so the name of the game in the stock market is to get a lot of bang for not a lot of buck. And what that basically means is this. A lot of bang right here is we want to see a lot of earnings per share growth. We know that earnings per share dictates where the stocks are going to go in the long term. We want to get a lot of growth, but not for a huge price. So we want to look for the highest earnings per share growth percent, but the lowest price earnings ratio level. So let's just flow through a couple right here so that you could get the logic of how this breaks down. Let's look at Google to start, number 2. You see that we're getting really good growth, 32% year over year earnings per share growth for 3 years straight. That's really, really strong. And you're getting that for 30 times trailing earnings, which is not bad if you ask me. It's basically at fair value. But if we just go look one above it, you see that if you fork up a little bit more money, go from a 30 price earnings ratio level to 40, you could get growth that is orders of magnitude higher for the previous 3 years. 204% in 3 years earnings per share growth for NVIDIA is just out of this world. So I want to pay up a little bit more and potentially allocate to NVIDIA. TSM, take a look at this one. You are getting 19% earnings per share growth at 33 times trailing earnings. So does it look as compelling to buy TSM right now over Google? To be honest with you, no, because you're paying more and getting less. It's kind of like how this stuff breaks down high level, guys. So now let's go down here to Broadcom. It's like, okay, we're going to get 21% year over year earnings per share growth, but then we're going to pay 81 times earnings for that. We're paying a higher valuation here for not that much growth. Because why not just go up here and get Google for more growth at a lower price? Of course you would want to do that. And this is basically just value investing at heart. This is what Warren Buffett does. He wants to get a lot of bang for not a lot of buck. I know there's so many people that are like, Brandon, what about AMD? It's like, look, we're getting really good growth on AMD, 45%. But if you look at the valuation level, you're getting that at 136 times trailing earnings. How could you justify that over NVIDIA, where NVIDIA has more growth and it's much cheaper fundamentally? Okay, so with that being said, I built a spreadsheet that covers the worst of the worst companies. The ones down here in the red, these are the worst of the worst companies to invest in right now. And then if we go to the top, you see the best of the best companies to invest in right now. And by doing this, keeping your ratios in check, doing long duration option trades, I only do 1 or 2 year option trades because it's so much easier, so much better, and it's the only way that I see that you could beat the market in a long term. When you allocate to the cream of the crop, like the Metas, the S&P 500, which is VOO, NVIDIA's, NASDAQ, TSMs, the Hoods, the Microsofts, the Microns, the Berkshires, the Morgan Stanleys, the Schwabs, the SoFi is now on the list because it fell so much. The valuation level is basically fair. When you buy good companies at good prices, and then you go across the top right of the bullish hierarchy, you will likely do very, very well in the long term. If I'm bullish, I'll buy shares. If I'm super bullish, I'll sell puts. And if I'm max bullishness, I will go buy calls. That is the name of the game right here, guys. So I think it's very clear. I am very, very bullish this market in the long term. But in the short term, it did just run up a lot. A couple companies got a little bit expensive fundamentally. And it does make sense to be cautiously optimistic in the short term. But long term, there's no reason to sell your base portfolio. There's no reason to sell your S&P 500, your NASDAQ, your core holdings if you have shares of them. Because as the profits grow, the stocks are going to follow that up and to the right in the long term, and the profit growth is strong right now. So that's the video. If you got value, like, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the hype button too if you want. And if you want to learn more about my option strategy, watch this video right here or click the link in the bio, 10-day stocks and options transformation. It will blow your mind, and I'll see you guys later.